Hi everybody, Kat here. Welcome to my channel. It's Sunday morning, Remembrance Day, but I'm going to be talking about something a little different. We're going to recollect some other events that are very important and topical today. Just an update for you on the Peter Nygard sexual assault trial going on in Canada right now. The closing arguments were made just a few days ago, and for about the last 70 hours, the jury has been in deliberations. They continued to deliberate this Sunday. They've put a couple questions to the judge regarding the charges. There are, I believe, 6 charges of sexual assault against Peter Nygard, and as well as 1 charge of forcible confinement. So they had asked 2 questions of the judge. The first was, what would happen if they couldn't find a unanimous verdict for every one of the counts? And the other question that they had to the judge was, what is considered unlawful, confinement? Is there a time period? Like, is it, has to meet some kind of a parameter? And the judge answered their question on that. So they continue to deliberate, and we'll just keep an eye on when the verdict happens. And you might say you may have never heard of Peter Nygard, and you might say, why am I talking about this today? Why is it important? Well, I'll tell you. Peter Nygard is another PED person, just like Jeffrey Epstein was. And wouldn't you know that not only was it surprising and shocking that Prince Andrew and Fergie would have such a friend as Jeffrey Epstein, and since all of that's come out, all both of them have ever done is, try to backpedal on their association with the man. But we know that they were good friends going back as far as maybe 2001, even after Epstein had been convicted. Andrew still maintained contact with him and still saw him, and it wasn't really till recent years when things kind of blew up that he backpedaled, and he wasn't really, it was Ghislaine Maxwell he was friends of, Jeffrey Epstein was, only just a plus one, nothing to see here. He wasn't really his friend. Well, then we come to find out that in the midst of the early years of their separation, Sarah and Andrew, where she was going through a ton of money troubles and owed back taxes and this kind of thing, well, we know now that the Queen did pay some of that off for her. We also know that Jeffrey Epstein fronted her $75,000 towards her debt. Now, somebody that isn't really a friend, just an acquaintance, would be so magnanimous as to do that for somebody that the way they want to, Andrew wants to characterize things is that they were, just short of being strangers, really. Doesn't happen. And so our current situation with Peter Nygard owned a large fashion company that was international, had a lot of stores around the world, but he also, one interesting character, well, more than one that these two shared, Jeffrey Epstein and Peter Nygard, they both have private islands. And interestingly enough, Andrew and even Sarah and the children have been photographed, not only at Epstein's Island, but Peter Nygard's Island. You know, for the longest time, and after the interview, and Andrew said, you know, like, aw shucks, like, it's just my bad, I'm just too nice a guy. It's just my bad luck that I happen to run into such a nasty man as Jeffrey Epstein. Well, don't you know, now we come to find out he's got more than one good friend that has those same predilections, had those same charges leveled against them, were up to the same activities, and somehow Andrew just had no clue of any of this. Somehow Fergie had no clue about any of this. You know, he was just a guy and, you know, kind of an acquaintance of Andrew's, and gee, Fergie, you know, just here's $75,000 for you. There's been speculation, not by me, but by others, that the price of Epstein's $75,000 gift was tragic and disgusting indeed. If you do a little bit of research, you can find out. It's nothing I'm going to talk about here, but worth checking out. Find out what these people really are like. Anyway, so Peter Nygard, he's up on all these charges. The jury is deliberating. When this ends, he still is facing even more trial time in the United States for similar charges. I mean, much the same. He, you know, charges against him in 2 countries, and here's a guy that even his 2 adult children, 2 boys, have testified against him. That's how rotten this guy is. And isn't it, you know, just bad luck for Andrew and Fergie that they seem to befriend all these rotten guys. You know, it's, gosh, and even beyond private islands and predilections and identical charges, you know, Andrew's got other friends that are gun runners and shifty politicians and shifty money people all over the world. I mean, you know, when he was an ambassador for Push the Palace or whatever the heck it was called, and he was globe-trotting around the world trying to, you know, encourage international trade with Britain. He was grafting hard, and he had some very interesting friends and some very interesting financial deals. Those kind of things that's, you know, you talk about Andrew, you got to talk about his shady financial deals. There's several of them, you know. So here we go. Epstein was taken out before the trial, you know, that would continue. And I'm saying taken out because we don't know if it was a personal act or set upon him, which I tend to think it was the latter for particular reasons. I don't think he did it himself, but that's just my opinion. I don't think we're looking at anything near that drastic happening with Andrew because... like I've said before, when we all wonder about Harry and what the hell is going on and how can he get away with everything, I believe that there's a certain level of insulation by the government and by the police and by the lawyers and by the royal family itself protecting Andrew and protecting information and trying not to let a lot of it out. They don't want it out there. So there's that. Now, if Nygaard is convicted, if the jury does come back and indeed convict him of these crimes, or some of them anyway, maybe one count they can't, I don't know how it all works, but then the guy still has to face trial in the States. And when this case goes to the States, I think this is going to be an issue, because there's been issues before, and some of the same lawyers are working in the States, are working on his trial prosecution that were working on Jeffrey Epstein. So they know the connections, and I wouldn't doubt once the trials continue into the States, that Andrew's name is going to be brought up again. This isn't going to end. And maybe more information will come out. So this is really something topical that we have to watch, see how everybody reacts, and see what happens next. Have a great day, everybody. Like, subscribe, leave me a comment. I'd like to know what you're thinking about all this. And if you'd like to support my channel, you can buy me a coffee. There, it's in my links. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.